Hey, welcome back to Upper Michigan Today, everybody. We are talking about the National Week of Conversation, which starts next week, April 15th, and goes into the 21st. And in discussing this topic, we're talking about an event that centers around that, the Music of Our Lives event hosted by Delta Chats. So we're joined now by Dr. June Klees and musician Phil Lynch. Thanks a lot for coming to the studio today, all the way from Escanaba. How was your ride here?
Pretty good.
Yep, very good. Good discussion.
Yeah. Roads looking spring-like out there?
It's getting there.
Good stuff, good stuff. So, Dr. June, Delta Chats started, it was formed about 2 years ago. Why did you form this organization?
Well, there's a growing movement across this country right now to heal divides that exist. We know that we're in a pretty toxic time in our political culture. That ebbs and flows in American history, and we're in another one of those eras. And Americans are starting to get pretty exhausted by it. They're frustrated, they're fed up, and the fact we have a clear majority of Americans, about 86% Americans are saying, yeah, what's going on here? Why are we doing this way? And that they're starting to think about how they can assert their own authority within our republic to have a voice in how the tenor and tone of our political culture is manifesting. You know, we're the history makers, right? And so we're looking at how we can change those things. Well, I've gotten involved with this national movement and studying it, understanding it. I always say I'm kind of like a time-traveling historian trying to sort out the pieces as it's happening and watching what's going on and then sharing and trying to amplify what it is they're doing locally to get people understanding that this is a very sincere effort for people to find ways to bring more dialogue for understanding into their lives so that you get to learn from people who are very different than you and understand where we have common ground, where we can offer each other more respect and understanding as we talk about these very difficult issues that we need to be addressing in the early 21st century. So there's a huge movement going on, and it's very hope-inspiring. And that's the thing. I know that people get really down about our politics and our political culture these
never
days.
do.
You never do.
I'm the resident.
You just write a song about
I'm
it.
the happy pessimist.
There you
So
go.
I
There you go.
lean on June a lot.
Yeah, and so we've started thinking about what that could look like locally. And I've been doing some things in relationship to campus. Our campus is very active in trying to promote more dialogue for understanding. And we started thinking, you know, hey, there should be an outward kind of facing organization that the college can host that would bring people together who want to amplify dialogue within what they're already doing. So the purpose of Delta Chats is we're a connector organization. We're not here to run dialogue events per se, but we're here to connect area service organizations that have an interest in further emboldening the dialogue portion around things that are important to them within the community. This is very much about, you know, the voice of the community, right? This isn't about, although there is a national movement, it's not about that national movement coming in and trying to tell, you know, the locals what to do. Instead, it's about, well, what resources are out there not only locally but nationally, and how do we connect to them, and how do we use dialogue to empower local service organizations' missions, right, and generate more understanding and get to know each other again as Americans, and not let this manufactured division, you know, continue to pollute our political culture. And we have a choice we can make on that front. So Delta Chats is about that, getting people in the community together, sending in representatives from different organizations to learn more about what they can do to collaborate and promote more dialogue in the community.
What does your work and your research within this topic and within the Delta Chats organization look like?
Well, it's a labor of love. You know, I am a historian and educator. I really have a lot of different hats that I've worn over the years as a social scientist and in my department at the college. But so this is a labor of love for me. I feel that there's a new form of patriotic expression rising in this country, and we need to understand what it is. And so since about 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, I really dove in deep to this topic. My daughter was raised. I had more free time, I guess, and of course the pandemic comes in, and you know, there's this sort of ability to focus, I suppose. And so I started looking at what's out there, and there really is a national movement that's organic. It's a grassroots thing. It's just a typical American response to the problems that we have in this country. And so Americans are rising all in so many ways, and what they're doing is you're seeing them tackling structural issues about, you know, the issues with voting reform and you know, getting into the political sphere, people dealing with civics and trying to re-embolden civics, people who are interested in the dialogue and amplifying also the movement in general. Journalism is, you know, having an interesting local revitalization through this process too. So there's a lot happening out there. The part that I personally wanted to focus on was the element of the reform of our political culture, because that's where we as citizens have the most ability to affect change in a direct way that will affect other generations to come. If we turn the table on the toxicity and we work with each other regardless of where we sit on in politics, no politics, any and all politics, you know, how do we turn that table and really leave the next generation something worthy of inheriting? And that is what these folks are doing. And so there's a lot of amazing efforts going on right now. And the National Week of Conversation, which is a project, which is a specific, well, really the highlight event of the Listen First project, that is in the dialogue sphere, but there's so much more going on. There's a national campaign, excuse me, that the National Governors Association is has launched this year, and I think you're going to hear a lot more about it over the summer, which is called Disagree Better. Because we know how to do this. We really do. We do it in so many areas of our lives that we don't even think about, you know, another person's politics. You know, I think back to the rock rescue that happened a number of years back, and how people came together for those animals and supporting, you know, a real important community cause. And I don't think anybody really cared whether you were Republican, whether you were Democrat, whether you were independent, whatever you were. It was about what we focus on in our community. And we do know how to disagree better in so many areas of life. We just kind of forgot to do it in our politics lately, right?
Yeah, right. And you say that music can be a tool to turn some of these tables. Right. We're going to talk more about that. We do have to take a break, but we're going to continue this conversation when we come back.